There's one right here, and then one right up at the front. Just ask her to move her purse, and then there's one right here.
Okay. All right. So essentially, just not anything to do with
Jess.
MLS. Anything to do with the clear cooperation. Right. The whole reason of these. But anyway, we're moving on. We're making the shift. We're making the shift. Buyer agreements must be signed first.
Go find a tripod.
Does anybody in here have an
It's usually here. You go on. I'll take it too. Oh, can you hold this on, Jen? Take this on, Jen, for a minute. Just keep it on her.
They first cancel meeting, they sit down and they say, hey, by the way, you have three options. I'm either your agent, I'm not your agent, or I'm your investor. So I can kind of help you, but not really help you. So they have to sign right then and there what they are to this to the agent. We don't get used to that. And for so long we've been used to going, I'll do one for free, I'll show this out for free, and then I'll have you sign an agreement. We can no longer do that. Comprende? Get that from your head. No longer can we do that. We have to show up with, hey, if you want me to show you this property, here's the new buyer broker agreement. I need you to understand it is just for this property, like you just said, please. Or I can hear about your agent or anything, right? Yes.
I have a question on that. Some of us have clients that are out of the area, out of state, and we have the scams that say sending stuff. I'm not talking about scams, I'm talking about legitimate clients who are not going to come to look at a house with us. What is the process? I'm assuming it's the same process, but we have to get in our heads that even online we can't start sending information, or can we?
Meaning like houses?
Exactly. Like we pulled the information off the MLS, and we have a client that says, hey, I want to start looking at things, what's in the area, and they're not here physically to see it. They're out of state, we may be doing, or out of the country, that happens.
Do you remember in school when you talked about, oh my gosh, what's the word? Starts with an A. Agency. What is it? Implied. Starts with an I. Sorry, I'm spelling wrong. So implied agency, that's where we're really drawing the line right now. Is are we acting as an agent or are we not? So if you think that sending a listing via email is acting as an agent,
That's my question.
technically,
We're sending an email to someone out of the country, out of the state, acting as an agent, implied agency.
just saying here's
If
the
he
deal.
says,
No.
I want to
So-
look at a new investment property, send me information on all of these.
No, it's the same as if somebody's walking into an open house.
That's.
It's the same thing as that. If you get that relief, you're not actually representing them.
Probably do it via walkthrough, maybe.
Yeah, that's what
Maybe
we're
you can start touring properties
Well-
for them, maybe, or not?
Yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah, that's a good question. It really is where you start to draw the line. I think right now, I want you to really put your head around what are you willing to do for free? Because those things are free. And right now, this is a really good opportunity for us to really take back that we are worth something. We're worth commission. So either you sign with me or you get nothing from me. Okay? So that's your decision if you want to do a little bit of work like that. But
I always think it's everything I do on Sunday is free. The other 6 days,
and I do work on Sundays. Is that what you say after that? Right.
go show them this house.
Granted,
It's a lot.
now the new buyer broker allows them to sign multiple buyer brokers against multiple different properties. Does that make sense?
Yeah. When we ask for, like, if they go, oh yeah, I signed something, I'm not sure, can we have them send the buyer broker so
For
we can
sure.
see it?
Again, I don't want you wasting your time. So if I were you, I'd say send me over everything you've signed, so I understand. Make sure that you haven't signed something that says that they represent you for any house, right? Because some buyers don't know. Yes.
I think it's gonna get really important to have that conversation that, I mean, like, we probably at one point in our career, we're all trained to have as a buyer consult and help them understand, like, the difference between just one property. I'm gonna have to have you sign these for every single property before we go in, or I can represent you for X period of time. Like, I think it gives us the opportunity to not, I surely don't wanna have them sign it for individual properties unless that's a one-off, like, they refuse. I'm always probably gonna go for the other one to save myself all the extra work.
Yeah,
You know, if we
sure.
don't have-
Love it, that's a great point, and he's absolutely right. Having these buyer consultations right now is so crucial to making sure that we're compliant with this. Also, we get in a really good habit of educating the public that we don't work for free. Because a lot of agents have taught the public that we work for free. Yes.
Sorry, so my biggest question, like with the listing that she had someone call her, are we now trying to become like dual agency, like do listing and selling more? Is that what this is gonna push us to do? Is for our sellers, it'll be beneficial for them if we also represent the buyers and try to do both sides of the transaction more?
You still have something, because previous to this, you had a rule that we don't double sign something, somebody else has to.
Well, we don't have a rule, we highly suggest you don't.
Right, that's what we've been taught.
But, so I say no, but this is where it becomes the listing agent's job to, and we'll get into this later on in my thing, to explain the commission structure to the seller, okay? Help them understand what they're paying for and what they get out of it, okay? So, good question. I think there will be a lot more dual agency because of it, but I suggest you explain to the seller very well what a buyer's agent does, okay? I have another question, I think. Anybody? Okay, all right, we're gonna move on. Oh no, we're gonna move on. So now there is no normal commission. Have you guys heard that? Oh, the typical commission is 3%. Typical commission is 6%. You've never heard that in your life? No. Please don't ever use that. This is what got us into the lawsuit in the beginning. Was people saying, well, it's typical 6%. Oh, Mr. Seller, it's a 6%. This is what got us here today. So there is no, I get like the shivers when I hear agents say, oh, they're not offering 3%. As if 3% is some number we were supposed to always get. We're not. Granted, we're worth money. So what is it we're worth? Know what we're worth. And the great thing about what's happening here is it's all going to up our games. We are all going to be better. Okay, so I love this. New conversations and education must occur. The new forms are ready. Who's seen them? Okay, who has watched the videos? Awesome. This is why you're Presidio. You're better agents than the most. You're learning about the changes on the forms and how it affects you and your job. We'll be raising the bar in the industry. This is my dream come true. It really is. I love it. Agents will have to do better. They will have to be better agents. They'll have to communicate better. We kind of hid under this, I don't really want to tell you about my commission. I don't really want to talk about it. And now we're going to go, I'm the doctor. I have my experience. I have everything. And this is what I charge. Okay? All right. So we're moving on. If I can. So scared we hit the wrong button.
I have a question.
I'll get it here. Yeah.
So I used the new form for the new buyer.
Good job! I wish I had another ticket. That's amazing.
So I got them under contract.
Good job! You guys, give them
Hold on. So when I wrote that buyer broker agreement, whatever, it's with Perry Home Realty, like the builder.
Okay.
And when I look at it, they saw 3%, so they start like, I don't want to pay you that if something they outstay buyer.
Yeah.
So I had the addendum written down like Perry Home already paid me 3%.
Okay.
So you don't
really
have to pay
do
me
anything.
anything,
Sure.
but I have to have the addendum in there.
Okay.
But they end up not buying that home. So I took them and got them in the contract in another home. So should I just disregard the addendum?
To a different home than that Perry homes you got them under contract with?
So that
Well,
addendum just stating
Is
Perry
the other
home.
home paying you 3% too?
Yeah.
Oh, you're okay to keep the addendum, but that's fine.
No,
But it's say
But it's
Perry
rewrite,
home.
rewrite another addendum
Yeah,
specific to that property.
Specify on the addendum exactly what property we're
Yes.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I would,
Yes,
And then a
New
second
addendum.
addendum can supersede that first addendum.
yes,
yeah.
Good
it
job,
would
I
do.
love that. I love that you're already using the forms, that's awesome.
okay.
Okay, you guys, change is good. I am so excited about this. I really am. There are so many agents who said, stupid, lame, this change is done. We all are thinking that, but I'm telling you, this is so good. Do you wanna know why? The cream will rise to the top. The agents that are already having these conversations, that are already okay with having a conversation about commission and explaining what we do, they're already doing it. They're already gonna do better. The ones that are so afraid to have this conversation, they're probably gonna go away. They're probably gonna get out of the industry. Because this is part of our job, is to communicate about our commissions and who we are, what we do, and how we get paid. Yes.
So, I do a buyer broker agreement, and I put my 3% because I know I'm worth it.
Yes, love it.
Then, I seek out with the seller, and they're willing to pay part of that 3%. Do you see us getting some from our buyer and some from
Sure.
the seller?
Sure.
Like a split to
Absolutely.
3%?
Absolutely. There's a good chance we'll have all of that. So what is it when you're sitting down with a buyer broker agreement that you don't wanna miss out on 3%, so you're gonna put 3, right?
Right, I mean, and if it's a family member and you're like, okay, I'll just put a 1%, you know, what I would expect to
Sure.
pay, because it's a family member.
Sure.
But I still put 3% and they sign it, and for them, I could do an addendum after and bring it down to the 1% and not leave 2% from the seller on the table,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, there is a debate going on about this. If you put less than what they're willing to offer, technically you're not allowed to take it.
That could be a verbal thing with my nephew, that
Right.
1%, putting the 3.
So this is how I explain. Hey, I'm putting a 3, well, we're gonna get into this.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
but you just have the full on conversation. Here's some scenarios. Here's what could happen. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what I'm gonna do. Talk them through all of it. It's a great point, and that's why we have a whole slide just dedicated to that. I love this. You guys are so great. Yeah.
I have a buyer broker agreement because I'm working with this client the past month. Today, I'm going again to show another house. Should I use the new form or there is?
Use the new form.
Use the new form.
Yes.
So haven't signed it today. the
Yes.
new form.
Have them sign.
Or the addendum.
So they're
Or
on
the
the contract.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I felt like there was more hands. There's so many questions around this, I know. Okay, we're gonna move on so that we can get through some of those tips and tricks. Please don't skip me. Okay, so here's some suggested scripts. Listing appointment. Okay, what do you charge? You're at the listing appointment, seller says, what do you charge? You guys, I'll send you these things if you need them. You and I will decide after I show you my services, my marketing, my value, what you would like to pay for my services. We will also discuss reasons around why offering a concession to a buyer or a buyer's agent may be in your best interest. But again, you get to decide that. Do you feel like that feels safe, comfortable, right? Okay, great, I get to decide. Who's at the driver's seat right now? Seller. Okay. So they like it, right? Why do you think I underlined and I? Because we also get to decide if they go, well, I only want to pay that flat fee of $5,000. We get to decide if we're willing to work for that, right? So you and I get to decide. Why do you think I underlined the word concession? Because commission is a scary word. And however, there's a lot of concessions that a seller is going to pay for. Buyer's closing costs, and you start to explain what a concession is and explain to the seller, hey, it could be commissions, it could be this, it could be whatever. If you want to wrap your head around how much money you're willing to make a deal work, let's do that. Let's get our head around that. If it's $20,000, if it's $40,000, whatever it is, right? But use the word concession a little more than commissions right now because it helps the seller wrap their head around it better than, oh, you get that and they get that, or what? Okay, so concession. All right, how about this? What if I don't want to pay anything for a buyer's agent? My response, this is what I've always said. Let's discuss the most important needs you have while selling your home, including the length of time on the market, estimated net proceeds, strength of the buyer, and more. And let's understand the cost a buyer pays to purchase. So now, you're taking the seller and you're helping them get into the things that we know. A buyer's got to come up with closing costs, earnest money, down payment, appraisal fee, credit fee, all these things, right? Inspection, thank you, so much more, right? It's time for us to explain that to the seller. It's time for us to tell the seller what the buyer has to come up with. And it can be really hard for buyers nowadays, right? Especially if prices just went up, so that means deposits, down payments just went up, right? So it's actually really difficult to get a home. So a seller then has the opportunity to help if you want to get your house sold, okay? You don't have to. You get to decide that, okay? Don't have to. But when you start talking about things like length of time on the market, help them understand what that means. There are other sellers willing to pay concessions. There are other sellers willing to pay commissions. And so they may have, I'll show you the next slide, but they may have the opportunity to sell sooner than you because a lot of buyers end up with an agent, right? Okay, so anyone like those scripts? Anyone have any other scripts they want to add? Okay, let's do continued scripts. What about the buyer consultation? What do you charge? Who's been asked that by a buyer? Not very many, right? Because we've been used to telling them what? Seller pays buyer. We no longer are saying that, ever, ever, ever. So the conversation, just like you've been having at the listing appointment, is the exact same. Let me help you understand what it costs to buy a home, okay? So there are many upfront costs, including closing costs, inspections, earnest money, appraisal, credit fee. My fee may be considered one of your closing costs. Wrap it in there, right? However, I'll do my very best that I can, this is the key part, to negotiate on your behalf that the seller pay in part or in full, Deb, this is back to what you were asking, the fee that I charge. If I cannot get that paid by the seller, I will let you know the portion that you'd be liable for, and you can decide if you want to proceed on that home or not. How's that feel? Right? It's a good script, right? So now you're giving them, again, the driver's seat. You get to decide. Now, by the way, Mr. Buyer, this house is only offering a 1%. We had you sign for a 3%. So I just want to make sure you know that's a 2%. You want me to do a buyer's net for you and show you what that looks like? Okay? Sit down. Be transparent. Go through every number. Make sure they are fully aware what they're getting into. The last thing you want is to show up at closing and go, okay, you have more money that you owe me. Please don't do that. That's a bad agent. So we're going to have these conversations. We're going to get really used to it. Okay. Questions, thoughts, anything? Okay, we're going to keep going.
Not to mention, if you don't communicate that well, they're never going to return to you.
Totally.
You'll burn that bridge so fast. However it shakes out, and you let them off the hook for it, having that conflict at the closing table or even towards that last week is going to ruin that.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. That's such a great point. I love it. Okay, so let's just stats to back it up. 89% of buyers purchase their home through a real estate agent. Mr. Seller, would you like to cut out 89% of buyers? That's a pretty good stat to help your seller realize that we may need to pay a concession, correct? Okay, 89% of sellers were assisted by a real estate agent. So Mr. Buyer that's calling me on my listing, you understand the seller is already committed to paying commissions. Where's your head at? What are you doing, right? So having these conversations, this goes into like for sale by owner stats and stuff like that. You may want to take a photo of that, or I'll send this to you, either way. But yeah, you gotta have the conversation and have stats to back it up. Help them feel like they understand. Okay, tips for VA success. Okay, just like taking a listing, we're gonna have conversations as part of the commission now. So your presentation, get used to the same conversation with buyers. We just said this. If you're doing a seller's net, get ready to do it. Who knows how to do a seller's net? Okay, cool. I can do them in my sleep. Like literally, I don't need anything but a calculator. Here's an estimate of what you're gonna walk away with. Here's an estimate, this is Mr. Buyer, of what it's gonna cost you to buy a home. Estimate, because we never know if you buy a higher or lower price home, right? And I always write estimates so big with a big star and say sign right there. That's the estimate. I usually come in with about $1 difference on my seller's nets. Now we get to do it with the buyers. Here's about what it's going to cost you. Every single home you show them, sit down and have the conversation. By the way, this one only offers a 1%. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay? You ready for that? You have that kind of money, or you want to move forward? What do you want to do? Okay, so get ready to negotiate with the listing broker. How good are you guys at negotiation? This should be your number 1 skill. You're a realtor. Experts. And number 2 skill, number 1 and number 2, communication. That's what all this is about, right? Communicate. Now, I know Steve said don't call and ask what the commission is. I don't see a ton of harm in asking, are they offering something? But I also, but professionalism to the max, definitely. say, hey, just curious, or just now that we don't know, I'm curious, are you guys offering things so I can prep my buyer for it, right? But not like oh, you did a terrible job negotiating, you didn't get any commission. It's not the listing agent's job anymore. I hope it is, I hope they do, but it's not really their job anymore, okay? So we have to learn to negotiate as a buyer's agent. Know your paperwork. So new paperwork's come out, know it. Backwards, forwards, understand it, be ready to turn it around upside down and read it backwards to your clients. This is what this means, this is what this means, and this is what this means. Take the time. Again, what have I said? The cream will rise to the top with this. If you are not prepared and someone calls you tomorrow and says, I want to go buy a house, or sorry, not tomorrow, next Monday, and you go, what do I do? What's the forms? What do I say? How do I do this? You're going to feel panicked. Get to know it. Practice the scripts I'm giving you today so that you feel very, like, you bet, let's go show that property. I'm going to meet you there and I'm going to show you the forms I need you to sign before we cross that threshold. Okay? Easy, right? All right, master negotiation scripts. Don't assume or expect any compensation ever. Never assume with the listing. Assume with your buyers for sure. You deserve something. Please don't work for free. And step up your game and earn your commission. This is where I'm super excited about us being able to earn our commissions. How many of us have worked with a crappy realtor? That's it? They are out there. There's tons of crappy realtors out there. How many of you can think of the person's name? You're like, they deserve a 3%. Oh, yes, yes. So this is going to give us an opportunity to show our skill set, show why we deserve a 3%, show why we are professionals in this industry, okay? So I'm super excited about it. I hope you are too. Get excited! Okay, let's go. All right, know your value. How many of you have seen this document? 179 ways realtors are worth every penny of their compensation. Oh, 2, 3? Okay. Okay, well, if you know in our back-end website, you can log in and get this. Presidio gets this for you. 179 reasons. Take this to every single appointment. Buyers, sellers. By the way, let me show you. 179. I mean, there's things I was reading through this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that. Oh yeah. Because we forget all the things we do. And then we hear from every angle, you're not worth 3%, you're not worth anything, I don't want to pay you, I don't want to pay you, and you forget all this stuff, and you go, wait, I actually do. Last night I was working till 9 p.m. to get my $3.2 million listing under contract. At 7 a.m. he's texting me again. And I'm like, this is why I deserve a full commission. I work around the clock for my clients. Okay, so they'll like record and promptly deposit earnest money. Deliver copies of offer to the lender. All these little things, 179 years, just use this. Right now, as we're trying to get used to us talking about how much we are worth our commission, sit down with people and go, here's 179. Now, NAR puts this out. At Presidio, we put on your picture and your thing so you can take it to every appointment with your picture and your contact information on it, okay? There's also another one that says another 150 ways. So there's 179, then another 150 ways. Like, they can't even stop talking about your value. NAR knows your value. Now we need to know, okay? So use this, get prepped to have that conversation. Okay, let's do some objection handling. Are we having fun so far?
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay, good. All right, so you're too much money. Have you heard that? That's too much money. Okay, well, we'll be working together for a long time, so let me show you all the things during that time that I'll be handling. You gotta remember, when you go into a listing presentation or a buyer presentation, oftentimes those people do not know you from Adam. They don't know what you're gonna do, and because we've all worked with crappy realtors, they might wonder if you're one of them. So you have to explain to them 179 things I'm gonna do, but also we're gonna be working together a long time. This could be 30, 60, 90 days where I'm working with you, and I'm gonna explain to you all the things I'm gonna do during that time. Take the time and go through this. Oftentimes we kind of hide behind, I'll just show them through the process. No longer is that gonna do you any good. Don't show them through the process, tell them in the beginning what you're doing, okay? How about, we'll just represent ourselves. Oh, no problem at all. I must refrain from implied agency, and that means you will have to attain all the documents, fill them out. You'll have to do all of that on your own. I cannot help you, okay? If they want to represent themselves, be ready for that conversation, sir. I don't want to sign a BVA, all right? The Division of Real Estate is now requiring a document signed before I show you any homes. This protects you, makes it easier. You don't have to schedule 500 appointments with 500 realtors. I do that for you. And it also helps me, protects my time. Because I have clients that do want to work with me and I'm going to spend my time with them, okay? So be ready to have that conversation. We don't want to sign a BPA with you. Well, I don't have an option anymore. The Division of Real Estate requires it. Okay? Any questions? Any thoughts? Okay, you guys are quiet because I'm
Is that like a law? Like, can we say it's signed up because yeah, it was.
There's fines if you don't. So we can call it a law, we can call it a rule, we can call it whatever. There's fines if you don't. Okay?
That's honestly, that's kind of an easy one because it's like if you don't want to sign a BBA, the only way you're going to get into houses is open houses. Or if you don't want to be represented, your best interest isn't going to ever be taken care of. If you go straight to a listing agent, he's getting the most out of his seller. You might end up paying a lot more for that house than you wanted to because that guy wants his seller to clean house, and you're up just with yourself. So that's and also it's like every agent has to do this. This isn't just my brokerage.
Totally.
This is nationwide. This is everything. So
Sounds like you've had this conversation before, Matt, and good job.
I think that's just how it has. Like they are going to have to realize it's not really up for. If you want an agent, you're going to have to.
Totally. Yes, Barbie.
So how do we handle it, so as a listing, and there's lots of people that just want the listing agent to show the property. Let's say that I show the property, they sign the BAC, the buyer broker agreement. They, I ask them, have you signed one? They say no. Find out later, they have. What, I see that maybe happening a lot because they don't know what they signed. What will happen with that?
Yeah, Katie brought this up just a few minutes ago, and I said, make sure they send you everything they signed, because again, they don't know what they signed, and sometimes there's snaky realtors that go, just sign here and I'll show you this house, and they get a full BBA. And so we want to make sure we know what they signed us.
In the new addendum, it specifically says, if you are working or have signed another document with another agent, this document that you are signing will void that other document.
Oh, good.
That's new language in it. Y'all have read that? That's exciting. Yeah.
If it's a full BBA.
So if a buyer wanted to get out of an agreement with you, they could just go sign up an agreement with someone else and it would void yours.
It could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
So I was under the impression that even during open houses, they had to have a sign.
No.
No.
So not during open house.
No, open house is full.
Or builder.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't?
No. They get a free pass to walk through.
Okay, this is my favorite part. I came up with this genius idea. I couldn't even sleep. I'm so excited. Okay. So no BAC offered? Okay. Well, you guys, you know how we used to send love letters from the agent, and we were highly discouraged to do that?
Yeah.
Because they could creep into fair housing. Thank you. Well, now I say we put together resumes. Hey, Mr. Seller, this is who I am. I sold $175 million of real estate in my 18-year career. I helped negotiate an appraisal on this. I did this scenarios, case studies. This is what I've done, this is what I've done. This is why you want to work with me. Isn't that genius? Oh my gosh, why are you guys not screaming?
Yay!
I'm done. Okay. This is such a good idea for when you are trying to negotiate your commission. Now listen, fair housing does not apply for broker to broker. But don't be a stupid agent and say, I'm a white Mormon individual. Do not do that. This is a resume. Would you put that on your freaking resume? No. Do not do that. It's a resume. I'm a realtor. I'm a full-time realtor. I've been doing this long. This is how many homes I've sold. If you haven't sold anything, fall back on your brokerage. I'm at a brokerage that had sold $1.2 billion last year. We have trainings every single week. We train 7 hours of CE a week. I am an educated agent. Lean on the stuff we offer you. Lean on your teams. Lean on people that you work with. Put a good resume out. Say, this is why I want a 3% commission. Okay? Love letters. Okay. But not really love letters. Resumes. Resumes. Show them who you are. You guys deserve it. You work hard. Show them who you are. Okay, so I don't want to pay a BAC. All right, again, we talked about this earlier. 89% of buyers work with an agent. Are you sure cutting those people out? Now, the way I explain sometimes to my seller is, now you understand that that's kind of a marketing fee that you're putting out there. You're dangling a carrot. You're saying, hey, buyers agents, if you have a ready, willing, able buyer, I'm willing to pay you for it. That's how motivated I am to sell my house. So when I use that language with the seller, their mind shifts a little bit. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I would be willing. If I have somebody that's a good agent and does this, those types of things, I would be willing. Okay, so start using a little different language, like dangling carrot, marketing fee. That's what the BAC is when your seller says, I don't want to pay a BAC. Okay, It's our job to try, but it is the buyer's agent's job to also negotiate. Okay, so
I have a quick
wanna
question on that one.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? So even if your seller doesn't want to pay a BAC, and that person does, like you go through the communication of scenarios, say, well, if someone unrepresented does come through, or if there's a limited agency or whatever, I would communicate that right away too, that like, hey, I listed your house, all the services I did for 3%. If you want me to help navigate any bit of that, it would be probably appropriate to say there's an additional cost for me to navigate that, because there's more liability, there's more everything, right?
Yeah, I love that he's talking about this, because like we said over here, someone's talking about a lot of dual agency. The question is now, are you willing to do both sides for 3%? Probably not, right? Or 2%, or 1%, or whatever they're willing to pay for. You're probably not. So protect yourself for the fact that you may have to represent the buyer too.
So the problem, Matt, is going to end up being when they're unrepresented and they're supposed to provide all the documents, and you're representing the seller. You have to educate your seller, saying, whatever they bring into us, we're going to have to work with that, even though they might not be the correct documents or it might not be filled out correctly. You cannot recorrect those. You'll have to write an addendum that states the right things, right? You have to work for your client.
It might get messy
right?
for.
You've got to have that conversation with your sellers if that's the case, because you're going to end up doing it that way. So.
There are some massively crazy things happening with this change. Did anyone hear that EXP has decided to no longer pay a BAC? They're one of the largest brokerages in the country, and they are not paying a BAC anymore. So what does that mean? That means most likely they're going to try and hold them all in-house and double-side everything. That's scary, because is that fair to the client? Did we give the client an opportunity to have an agent that actually has a ready, willing, legal buyer? It makes it worse. There are some really crazy, scary things going on that my mind is blown, and I don't think this is over yet, but today we're learning how to deal with what we have to deal with today. Yes?
How are they allowed to do that when all of this is saying that it's the buyer who's deciding whether they're going to pay the commission, or the seller's deciding whether they're going to pay the commission?
As a company, they can make their own rules.
Yeah, you can make their own rules.
The issue is going to be those that pulled out of NAR already and said, we're not going to be a part of NAR. There's some major companies. They're real estate agents. They're not held to this standard. They're not held to what Jen's talking about. They're like commercial agents. It's the Wild West for them. So they don't have access to any MLS or anything like that. They have to have all their own forms, and they're going to provide all their listings as pocket listings on their websites and stuff like that. That's where the problems are going to be.
There's some crazy things going on. I heard a brokerage in the Midwest is suing NAR right now, and so there's some crazy things that are going to come out of this. But right now, we're learning how to deal with it the way we can, so we can continue in business today. Yes.
So, from what I understand, what that means is that if an agent, a listing agent is going to collect their commission, and then the buyer's agent is going to, the title company, rather than sending it to the brokerage, is just going to send whatever directly to the buyer's agent. So EXP is saying, we will not share anything, we're not going to send anything to anybody, we're only going to handle our own in-house commissions.
Yeah, crazy, huh? I saw him back there.
I think it reminds me of like Homey. That's kind of like their whole structure and stuff like that.
This is really, really treacherous that we're going into a big change like this, but I know us as professionals can actually handle this and our buyers and sellers can. The only good thing. There's some good things coming out of this, but one of the main good things coming out of this is that we will learn to be better negotiators and better communicators. And that's our job as salespeople. It really is. Okay, I thought I had another question. No? Okay. All right. Oh, the last one.
Oh, Jen, real quick. Sorry, I'm getting this back up again, but somebody on Facebook Live just asked, do we have, are there specific brokerages doing this, or is it just a risk that is happening? And if it is a specific brokerage, do we need to know who they are?
EXP is the one that has made that system. I expect to see other brokerages do it. They will pull out of NAR, no longer be associated with NAR, but what that means, especially the big ones, is they have to create their own MLS, create their own forms, create all of that, and allow their agents to just swap properties within themselves.
That sounds so much more messier.
It's messy, and I do not believe it's fair to the client. I just don't. It limits the client's exposure. So we say to I say to my client, I'm listing your house on the local MLS, which what's the word? I'm like losing it today. I didn't eat breakfast. It's syndicate, thank you, goes out to 5,000 other websites from the MLS. That is such good exposure for you. okay, including Zillow and including Realtor.com. So, you know, we want to be able to have these conversations and help them understand why being a realtor is better than not, but I expect things like that to be happening. It's kind of going to be scary for the next year, but lots of change is going to continue to happen. Okay, way jump forward. Okay, sorry. No, it's okay. All right, so I want to list for a flat fee. Well, what parts of my service would you like me to cut out? Responding on weekends, holidays, staging, etc. On Sundays. I don't sit and negotiate a contract till 9 p.m. at night. If you want to list for a flat fee, please, please, please have this conversation. So now I'm guilty of it. I have taken listings for a flat fee, but I also am not guilty of explaining the things I won't do. Okay, just so you know, at that, you don't get this. You don't get open houses, you don't get this, you don't get that. Oh, we don't want it, we don't care, we don't care. Okay, I'm gonna make sure you know that you're not gonna come to me and go, well, it's not selling, and you're not gonna blame me. Because I'm telling you, offering DAC, paying me for my services is going to get your house sold. Explain that to them, okay?
So can you renegotiate, then you can renegotiate that if they see that it's not getting the results they
Totally.
want. You can renegotiate.
I've actually had sellers come back and go, okay, you're right. We should probably offer more than a $7,000 commission on an $800,000 listing. Because that's less than 1%. So look, you're right. Maybe we should do something different. Told you. It's been sitting vacant for 30 days, no showings. Told you. But I also have gotten in the habit. Do you guys do? Here's the CMA sign here. Okay, put that into practice. Here's what I believe this home will sell for based on the comps. Please sign here at this number if you want to list higher. So that you always say, remember when I made you sign? Because the physical action of signing puts it in their brain. Oh, you're saying 685 and I want to list at 785. They won't remember because they just go, no, I want 785. Okay, but sign here because I want to make sure you see that. Do the same thing with what we do. Okay, let's just cross out what we do. I want you to sign here stating that you agree that you're cutting these things out. Have you guys ever seen our seller guarantee and our buyer guarantee here? Okay, I see one head saying yes. Yes. We offer so many things for you. We have a guarantee that says all the things that if you list with me, here's my guarantee. Now, please do not have them sign it if you're not willing to do the things that are on the form. It is raising the bar. It is the top-notch agents. It's the things that you do. It is this Friday night, 9 o'clock, here's the report of what happened this week on your home. Don't be willing to have your client sign those. But I also feel like, again, they don't know you from Adam, so sitting down with you and signing some big, scary agreement, a guarantee makes them feel really safe. Makes them go, okay. Now, what does a guarantee mean? If I don't do anything, you're going to come to me and you're going to have a conversation with me and I have a chance to fix it. Because I may not have known that I wasn't doing something that we agreed on. But if I don't fix it, I'll let you out of the contract. Okay? That feels really safe for a seller or a buyer. Because they're not just going to be stuck with someone that isn't doing their job. And use the language. Listen, I've been in the industry a long time. I know there's crappy agents out there. I know there's people that have made other people feel like renters aren't worth anything. But I am. And here's why. Okay? You guys know your value? Okay. I hope you do because you are amazing realtors. All right. So, what's the next one?
Is it not gone?
Okay, I always say this, don't be an agent on accident. Be an agent on purpose. The agent on accident is waiting for someone to call. Oh my gosh, I hope somebody, my sister or my mom or somebody calls me and I get a listing on this. And you're just hoping. All you're doing is hoping. An agent on purpose who gets up every single day, goes to the office, works hard, gets their education done, understands this business backwards and forwards, understands the forms, understands the changes, shows up to things like this. Because you are going to be ready for this massive change. You're going to understand it, right? So be an agent on purpose. We have so many great examples of that in this room. Agents that show up. They work hard. They do a good job. And I guarantee their pocketbook reflects it. Guarantee it. Don't be an agent on accident. Don't hope. Don't wish. Don't, put a sign in the yard and pray. That's a Utah thing. Put a sign in the yard and pray. Please help, please help, please help. Don't do that. Go find your next listing while that one's been listed. Okay, go find your next client while those ones are being marketed. Okay, any thoughts on that?
Sorry.
Okay, all right, you're worth it. This is a quote I heard and I thought it was kind of cool. It might not resonate with me with everyone, but the more unwanted you are, the more necessary you will be. Get through your feelings of rejection. We are in an industry where we are going to deal with a ton of rejection. If it shuts you down, you're not going to make it. I'm sorry. You got to have thick skin. Get through your feelings of rejection. You won't be. Everybody isn't supposed to want you. But if you make yourself exclusive, if everyone can afford you, you're not special. Make yourself exclusive. I charge 3% because I know what I do for my clients, and they do too. I've personally been at the closing table when I had a client say to me, "Jen, I would have paid you 10%." That's proof that I work hard for my clients. We want all of our clients to say that. 3%? Are you kidding me? I should have paid you twice that much. You did so much for me. So make yourself exclusive. Make sure that when you go in and you're talking about your commission, you're exclusive. My clients pay for my services. Okay? If we all band together and make this the best profession, then we won't have to have this argument that we're not worth our commissions. If we all raise the bar, if we all do better, guess what? We won't have this stupid argument. You go into a doctor and you say, "Okay, so what do you charge? I have COVID, I need you to fix it, but what do you charge?" You don't ask, right? You know he went to school. You know he's got a PhD, whatever. You know he knows how to fix your problem when you're ill. You don't ask him how much he charges. Let's raise the bar so that we no longer have clients asking what we charge. They just sign whatever it costs, because I know you're the best. You've already proven to be over and over again before we signed this that you are the best.
I have a person the other day. He was like, "Oh, you're a real estate agent." I cannot believe those millions of homes that some real estate agents sell and make so much money.
That's what they do.
They get mad. Like maybe they are doctors or research of cancer, things like that, and some real estate agents make more money than them. And I said, I didn't know what to say.
It's so funny.
But there's insurances, right?
Yeah.
It's more expensive than marketing, database.
Yep.
You're kind of,
I put a video out the other day on my social media that said what it costs to be a realtor. And no joke, every one of those was the cost in my year last year. $100,000 for me to be a realtor last year. Now, that was a CRM every month, I did the math. That was a website every month, I did the math. That was my brokerage fees, I did the math. That was my taxes, $40,000 if it went to taxes. That's an average, by the way. That wasn't actually mine was 80. But do you see where you can start to explain to the client that you don't really get that $10,000 that you're paying me. I get a portion of it. Let me help you understand what portion I get.
We are talking like 43,000.
Yeah,
Those people that make, because they are in the luxury.
Also, it takes 30, 60, 90, sometimes 6 months to earn that. Where a doctor makes how much in a year, and it could take 6 months to sell a house and make $40,000 just.
Also, it's, these agents out there making $500,000, they didn't make that year one, right? Like,
no way.
The experience that I have to make that kind of money wasn't like 6 months, I got my license, now I make that. There's a big difference in you're paying for 10 years worth of experience. That's why there's value in it. Same thing with the doctor. He has 8 years plus of schooling, and the credentials and everything give him that value. We didn't maybe go to school for 8 years in the traditional sense, but we did go to experience for 8 years or 10 years or however long that took to be able to go and earn that type of income too.
Yeah, that's perfect. You've heard the story about the guy that went and turns the nuts and bolts on some big airplane and charged like $144,000. Like, you just literally twisted a bolt. And he said, no, it was 40 years of experience of knowing that's the bolt I needed to trust. Same thing applies in our industry. If I've done this 18 years, they're going to know I've done this 18 years. If I've sold $175 million worth of homes, they're going to know that. They're going to understand that I work really hard. Did you have a question?
Yeah, just a statement. I've been a massage therapist for 20 years. One thing I tell, I'm pretty expensive. I'm one of the top of the market, but I'm very, very good at what I do. But what I tell my clients all the time is, you are not paying me for the hour and a half that you are on my table. You are paying me for the 20 years that I have honed my craft and made these hands do what they can do.
She is the best.
Be confident in who you are, because it is worth it. I always say that since I've started at Presidio, I've learned two things. One, I do not have what it takes to become a real estate agent. I actually could, because I have Jen and Steve in my corner. Two, I will never sell or buy a house without one. Ever. be confident in who you are. It is
Well,
everything.
that's the funny part. They need us, even
Mhm.
investors.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's bad. They complain about how much.
Well, and it's our job to explain to them that it's not really that much.
Yeah.
I mean, well, the average commission is what? Average. $6,000. Okay, 12.
Will you do chair massages here?
100% anytime.
Do you guys know that the average wages for a realtor is $30,000 a year?
Yeah.
Nationwide.
Nationwide average $30,000. Do you know that you can go get a manager job at McDonald's for $45,000 a year? Yeah. So we have to educate our clients and let them know. The chances are I may not sell anything this year, even though I'm trying. I may not sell anything. And so we charge a certain amount so that we can, here's the marketing piece. This is what we do. Here's 179 ways we do it. This is what I do for you. This is what we charge. Okay? All right, any other thoughts or questions right now? Yes?
Just to make sure, can we put in public remarks?
No.
I mean, not bad, but seller is willing to consider any concessions. Okay, I didn't think so. I just want to make sure. But in agent remarks, we say,
Just steer clear of that on the MLS, you guys. I just don't want you to get little ticky-tacky fines that you don't want right now. So, but can you do it over text message? Yeah. Hey, I'm willing to show your house. Hey, seller's willing to look at anything that makes sense. Yes.
Just to clarify that, can you still say that they're willing to offer concessions for carpet or something like that that's not related to commissions?
Well, you can, but I think it's like it puts it under the umbrella of what are you talking about? Are you being elusive? That type of thing. So just.
But I mean, if that's literally what if they were willing to offer, they're willing to offer a $2,500 concession for new carpet, and that's literally what it was applied for.
If that's true,
okay?
yeah, you can still put that on the MLS. Seller's willing to pay $1,000. Yeah. Any other thoughts, questions? Okay, sorry.
But what about the text message through the line?
No.
Like when they send you.
No. Do not put it in a line. Anything that's connected to MLS, do not put it in there. You can get fined. Okay, so just to recap, I want you to practice your scripts. You guys, some of these scripts I've given you today, practice them. Be ready to say them. Say them like your elevator pitch. Like I know them, I kind of read them to you, but I know them backwards and forwards because I've been using them for years. So get ready to say those things. Get ready to have that objection handling. Ask yourself every question. Ask a partner to sit with you and go, just fight with me over this. Tell me, be the worst seller ever and tell me you're not going to pay me anything and let me practice this. Get used to coming up with on-the-spot responses to what you need to do to get where you need to go, okay? Now, granted, again, there may be one that you go, you know what, I don't even want those listening. Monkey off my back, I'm moving on, okay? Because there will be people that are willing to pay for you. Practice your scripts, practice objection handling. Up your game, you guys. This is a huge opportunity for us to be better. We will continue to teach you scripts here. We will continue to do things for you here to make you a better agent. Please show up. Please hop on Zoom. Please be a part of what we're trying to do. This, again, is my dream, raising the bar in the industry. This is going to make you a better agent, okay? No more hope. No more hoping that you'll get a buyer. No more hoping that you'll get a seller. It is going to be a very complicated, steep game out there. If you're not working, you will be ousted out of this industry. Work. Get your buyers, get your sellers. Know your objection handling well enough that you're ahead of the game. You're picking up buyers and sellers while other agents are going, I don't even know what to do. I don't know what this new NAR thing. There's still agents out there that have no clue what's happening. But you do, because you're here today, you've heard about it, you've shown up. No more hope. Refine your communication. Sorry, typo there. Oh, the end right there. Okay, and get creative. We have some really creative ideas in here. I love it. The resume, that's creative. Get creative of how to make sure that you get your commission paid. Everybody loves this industry that we're in, right? We love it, right? It's a great industry. It's kind of like once you start getting commissions, it's hard to leave. It's like, oh man, I can't go take a desk job because I won't make that much, right? So we love this industry. Get creative to make this work for you, to make as much money as you possibly can in this industry. And look at this as a benefit. You are all going to rise to the top. You are. You're going to do better because you're going to learn your stuff and you're going to be a better agent. All right. Any questions or thoughts? Yes.
I put you on the spot and ask you.
I'll put him on the spot.
Okay, so like when I go to your website, look at your listing, are you just going to put it out there that my seller will offer?
I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. But sure, I mean, it's perfectly fine to put it on your website.
I know it's perfectly fine. I'm like, I have a listing next week, so I'm like 50-50. Like, part of me just thinks, yeah, that's marketing. I want to make their house the most market. That's like real estate 100, right?
Yeah.
Make your house the most marketable thing. You're gonna do that, and then I'm like, but I know. I'm serious. I'm like 50-50.
No, I love that you're thinking that way because I do too. I'm a listing agent. I rarely do buyers, rarely, unless like a family member or friend. And so for me, if I'm negotiating a 6% and a crappy agent shows up, do I think they just deserve 3%? No. Do I have the right to hold it back and say, show me what you're worth? I don't know. I know. Right? But we could say seller was willing to do some commission, some concessions, send me an offer, and look at it.
Okay.
But also, look that agent up. How many of you sold? Where are you at? Am I going to be helping you through the contract? And explain that to your client.
Okay. So I guess the answer is you're probably not going to just put it out there. You're just like sending your offer. That's
I'm
what
a
I was gonna
control
say.
freak, so I like the control of holding that.
Yeah.
That information.
Yeah. Like, yeah,
I
show
think
the
that's just another
property.
point of
My
negotiation.
seller's willing to
Yeah.
negotiate.
Yeah.
I'm not even say, hey, my seller's willing to negotiate, and so send in your offer with your addendum.
Well, and my favorite thing is, hey, I'm out of town. Are you willing to show your listing to my buyers? Oh, sure. Docked 1% right there.
You bet. We'll show you.
So there's a part of me that loves the control around that, but also, I think I'll start to have conversations with agents saying, tell me what kind of agent you are. Tell me, do you show up to the inspection? Tell me, do you do this, do you do that? Where are you at? What kind of agent are you? How many of you have worked in a model home before? How many of you took in a buyer to a model home and the model home agent tells you, please go away, let me handle it?
Yes, everything.
Exactly. They don't want us to what? Negotiate, be a fiduciary to our client, take care of our client. So we have to look at it that way. What kind of an agent are you going to be? Are you going to earn your commission? These are the things that my seller requires from you. You can even do that. Sit down with your seller. Here's another genius idea that just popped in my head. Sit down with your seller. What kind of an agent would you want to pay if you're going to pay someone on the other side? Tell me your requiem. Tell me what it is you want to pay for. And if he's like, I don't know. Say, well, I've been doing it a long time. Let me tell you what works really well with me. Somebody that picks up the phone, someone that communicates, someone that responds by deadline, someone that does this, does that, does that. If I could put together some sort of a seller's willing to pay you if you do these things, maybe we have a little bit more, we can protect our seller a little more. Okay? I don't know. Legal?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Jen, somebody on Facebook said, how can the seller reduce the commission if disclosed on the listing agreement?
So the listing agreement states that the listing broker gets a percentage.
Okay.
And that we have the option to give it to someone.
What was the question?
The question was, how can the seller reduce the commission if it's disclosed on the listing agreement?
Well, so if I get a listing agreement signed, it says 6%, it says we have the option to pay another brokerage another fee. But we don't have to do that. We don't have to. Yeah, never have had to.
But there will be parts too, right? If I'm part of the offer, will have. I guess that's interesting. As you write an offer and you're negotiating your commission, where would you put the details of the fact that the seller agrees to pay? Is there with that?
You don't.
You don't at all.
No.
So at what point are you? Do you know for sure?
The buyer doesn't. You don't. And they don't have to disclose that document because that's between the brokerage and the seller.
So when you negotiate with the seller to get your commission covered, that's just an addendum to the rep
To that.
and that would be
to the buyer. I mean.
Yeah.
Right. That would be binding.
Correct. Once it's legal and binding.
I think it was Mike was saying that there is like a compensation agreement. So he's saying like if a listing agent says like, oh yeah, they'll offer 3%, he's like, okay, sign this before I go show my clients or something.
Wait, say it again. If there's 2%, who signs what?
There's like a compensation form. From who? Broker to broker.
Oh.
Like agent to agent.
Nope.
So he's saying
Yeah,
don't take their word
instructions
for
and
it, make
documents
them
don't.
sign it, that they will pay
So it's
that.
the new compensation one that she's talking about is the new form. That's between brokerage to brokerage, absolutely.
I don't
But-
understand though. if I get someone under contract, because I had my buyer sign that at 2.5% our brokerage commission. I didn't know that I can put 3%, because I hear that buyers have to charge 3%. I don't know.
No,
Well, but I
no,
took 2.5, and my seller said, okay, I will pay, but please make sure to negotiate with the seller. So can I send an addendum with a rep sheet?
Yes. Well, the rep sheet now has that in it, that you want this from the seller.
Also,
That the buyer wants this
Seller
paid from the
pays.
seller.
What I should write, sellers?
No, it's already in there. You're just filling in the blanks. You're just putting in the amounts now.
So it's in the rep sheet.
It's in the new rep sheet.
In the new rep sheet.
In the new rep sheet.
Receiving your commission is going to fall back on the buyer agreement. If you get a concession from the seller of, say, 3% is $15,000, say the house is $500,000, and you got a concession of $15,000, your buyer isn't going to go be able to take that $15,000 and use it for their own closing costs, like with a lender, because they know they have a 3% agreement with you.
Yeah.
So when you got that concession from the seller, it's under understanding that like your buyer is under contract to pay you that.
Yeah.
So that buyer agreement now has to go to the title to say what you're going to get paid from the seller.
Okay.
Well, and like Deb had asked, you sit down with a family member and you're so afraid to write a 3. Again, remember my script.
Try 4.
Hey, listen, yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, I'm gonna do everything I can to get the seller to pay this commission. Everything I can. I'm negotiating hard, and Mac is really good at it. Have some case studies. There was a time I had a listing that they were offering 0, but I got this much out of it. Okay? So start writing a journal about the wins you've had in this business, because we've all had them. So tell your buyer that, sign it for a 3%. If it's your family and their seller's not willing to pay anything, you can go back and lower it. But you cannot ever raise it. So put 1% and then go, oh shoot, this listing agent's offering 4 because they're so desperate to get this sold. Now what? Yeah. Yeah. So just trying to have it.
It's like that extra percent
have
of your
higher.
buyers, because they're only going to pay you.
Yeah.
That is.
Exactly. Okay, and yeah.
I'm thinking about a situation where you have a listing and somebody comes to you unrepresented. We were just talking about how you can't give them implied agency by supplying them with forms or whatnot. How do we go about best taking care of our sellers to make sure that that transaction goes as smoothly as possible? Are you allowed to write a rep sheet on behalf of the seller? Is that something that's doable, or how can we best do this to help our clients have?
Sure, you can write a rep sheet, propose to the buyer, and have them sign it and agree to it. But it gets right in that gray area where it's a little dangerous that you've sent something over before they have. So to me, I look at it like the Pee Wee League and NFL on the same field. If you're saying, how do I represent my seller? Oh my gosh, this is great. They're not represented. Guess what? I know this backwards and forwards. You're going to be protected. They're not. That's what they choose. Okay? So you go then, guess what? You can look at their contract and go, they missed this, they missed that. Let's counter and make sure you're in a good spot. You look golden to your seller. So again, if they want to be unrepresented, it's the Pee Wee League. It is like, good luck, buddy. Good luck bringing me an offer that actually makes sense.
I agree. Sometimes those offers are so horrible. They used some contract they found online, and it doesn't even pertain to residential real estate. It's not even really something you can counter. It's just the wrong document. How do you handle that?
That's
Right back with the rep sheet.
Counter with rep sheet,
Do you say wait until you get the wrong thing and say, hey, this is our counter on this form?
Yeah. Yeah. This is going to put us in a lot of crazy situations. If you have a question, call us and we'll help you get through it, because we want to make sure you and your client are taken care of. But yeah, there's going to be a ton of questions like that. What happens if I show a house and then they go bring another agent and blah, 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 and all this stuff? Like, there's going to be so many questions around this. We're just having to deal with each one individually.
I had someone on a listing, they just brought it into the office and wrote on a plain piece of paper, I would like to rent this property with no money down. Oh,
That would be fun.
Have you ever seen that story on, I think it's TikTok, where the guy gets a ticket and they mailed him a ticket and he mailed back a copy of a check and they mailed back a copy of handcuffs?
Yeah.
That kind of thing you want to mail back. Here's the keys to the house. Right? A photocopy of the keys to the house. There you go. Good job. It's like, again, this is going to raise the bar. This is going to make us all better. So utilize this to your benefit. Utilize this to your client's benefit. Hey, this is good. It's going to make professionals professional. And there's been enough of them in this industry that have not been professional for a long time. Questions, thoughts? We did it!
So one thing I just want to share with you, and Jen and I are so happy that you guys are here to learn this and know this. I got a call yesterday, I'm meeting with an agent today, that their brokerage said, go read the frequently asked questions on NAR's website. That is not going to train you how to do this right. We are here for this training. We've done this training in several of our branches. We'll continue to do it to as many agents as we want. I reached out to the selling board yesterday and I said, how many agents left that did not resign? And they told me 900.
Oh, wow.
900 quit. We're down to like 9,350 members in the selling board. That's good news for you. Those 900 people are out the door, right? So we're glad you're here. You're not being one of those 900 just giving up on this, because this type of thing happens, right? Things cycle around. We'll get through this. It'll become our new norm when we get used to it, and we'll see what happens. NAR is not out of the woods yet, right? It's not all complete and signed. So just know that because of our leadership that we have, like I'm an NAR director and a UAR director, we know possibilities that can happen in the future, and we're ready for them, no matter what happens. Just know that.